But the labor movement would definitely be getting stronger. And I do think addressing the very fabric of why our society is falling apart is because of corporate special interests led by the likes of Vanguard and BlackRock have completely taken over our government. And the ones who are looking around saying one party is going to be better than the other party, it's simply not true. One does it with a smile, and one does it with a grin. Either way, you're not going to be doing well. That's why we say, yeah, the liberal bureaucracy in DC and New York is going to make it look like Democrats are really doing you favors, when in reality, what they're doing is one step forward and two steps backward. You're never going to get ahead. The whole idea is to keep you under this illusion that if at some point you might get lucky, but you're not getting lucky. We're literally falling off the cliff. The car's in reverse and we're not able to stop it because we're not actually focused on the things that are really going to change it. At least that's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, up until we don't really know. I feel like we don't really know what would happen if somebody was in there and really I don't feel like we know what would happen.
Well, you know what we do know is going to happen? We know that labor is finally starting to take chances. Is the UAW strikers going to actually strike on September 15th? We don't know yet, but we're certainly optimistic that things are getting pretty close. So you know who else is deciding that they're going to start striking? The American Airlines flight attendants.
Good for you.
They've had enough. They don't want to take this crap anymore. Why the hell should they? And can we just talk about the fact if
another industry that was bailed out but yet screwed over its employees? That's what those two things have in common. You have two industries that were completely bailed out and put all the money not into their employees' pockets.
The idea that the likes of even a Thomas Massie is not on the House floor every day saying we have to make stock buybacks illegal again. You want to talk about the worst thing that Ronald Reagan did as president of the United States? He eliminated there's a number of things that he did that were terrible. But allowing stock buybacks was basically the first shot across the bow, along with the union busting, that signaled the direction the country was going in for at least the next two generations, which we're sitting in right now.
Yeah.
But the workers...
So we're seeing it rise.
Yeah. The flight attendants with American Airlines are not having it. We hope that this is just the start of something much bigger. Take a look.
Flight attendants for American Airlines vote to authorize a strike. The vote happens as the Association of Professional Flight Attendants and American Airlines, they continue to negotiate. The attendants want a new contract that includes better pay and quality of life.
Ready to strike.
And that could have major effects on the upcoming holiday weekend.
And when it comes to that, the flight attendants I spoke with say, you know what, for them and their view, it all goes back to American Airlines and the process and timing, they say, of these contract negotiations over pay raises that is still underway.
That is very contributory to cancellations and to disruptions in this industry.
Statement, American Airlines said it's proud of the progress made with the union in reaching an agreement, adding, quote, "We understand that a strike authorization vote is one of the most important ways flight attendants express their desire to get a deal done."
We shut him down in '93!
Bill Clinton stepped in, ended that strike, put in a better offer for us, and it was a monumental victory.
Even though we're required to be signed in by, an hour before departure, and you can get into trouble if you're not signed in on time, my pay essentially does not start until that door is closed. If there's weather or if there's a maintenance issue, if that door is not closed, essentially we're sitting there not getting paid at all. Forgot to meal prep, so I'm here eating an overly priced $18 pizza in the Boston airport. I'm sitting here for 3 hours. Once again, you're not compensated for that. We're in contract negotiations right now with the airline. We have been for quite some time, but we have not had a new contract since 2019.
Contract! Now! Contract!
Are they picketing in Fort Lauderdale? Do you know?
I don't know for sure. We got to look into that. If anybody knows if the Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport is being picketed by American Airlines workers, maybe they are.
Well, I learned something new every single time that there's a new union uprising as to one more thing that is absolutely absurd to me that people have to deal with as employees. So they don't get paid for the amount of time that they're at the airport, that they're not on the plane with the door closed. So they don't actually start getting paid. Now, no wonder they're so quick to get everyone in their seats and get the door closed. But no, I'm joking. But that's absurd.
And not only that, but what you also have to remember, for anybody who has done air travel over the last, 2-3 years, as I have and you have, talk about delays.
It's
talk
like
about
cars.
just sitting around. And so what you're telling me is that when a flight gets delayed 5 or 6 hours and they don't cancel the flight,
they don't get
that's
paid.
making it even worse, because now it's almost getting to the point where it's nefarious, where they're deliberately not canceling the flight because they don't want the flight attendants to leave. They don't want to take that chance that they might actually figure out a way to go off and, do something else. In this case,
I just didn't know how bad it was. Like, I always knew that flight attendants didn't make good money. That I knew. And you know what? To me, that was one of those things that people did as a trade-off to get the perks, they get lots of good travel. And that is true. And it used to be. That used to be a thing where you'd be a flight attendant, and yeah, you knew you didn't make good money, but you had so many good benefits. And so it sort of compensated you. And plus, for a lot of people, the free travel is the same thing as money, right? Like, that's good.
Now, look, if depending on the airline that you're working for, it is a great perk.
It can be, but it's almost, to me, I think that the industry has changed so much that idea of a well sort of benefited flight attendant is not the case. No. They're basically just gig workers. They're just gig workers. I cannot believe that they're not paid when they're at the airport waiting for their flight. They wouldn't otherwise be there. They're not traveling for fun. So they're only there because they're forced to be there for work. So how is it they're not getting paid?
6875, what was the reception like at LaGuardia today? Again, it is New York. I would like to think in such a labor-focused major city that you probably were well received, but obviously would like to hear exactly how that went.
Crazy stuff. Most people don't know these things.
Yeah, you can literally be on duty for 11 hours and only get paid for 7.
How is that
any industry would lose their mind.
I don't understand how that's not like a violation of so many things. Is this one of those things like with the railroads where they have their own thing, or they're under the NLRB, right? I'm pretty sure they're under only the railroad workers are not under the NLRB. So then how is this? This is just crazy to me.
I don't know exactly what's going to come from what the NLRB under the Biden administration, where they have permitted this idea that you have the right to form a union at any job. Yeah, we get that. But guess what? That's already the law. This is not a new law.
If I want to be technical, it's actually called the First Amendment.
It's
this freedom of assembly thing. Then the petitioning of grievances. Like, it's sort of this concept of we're able to sort of get together and do things about things. That's the premise. So I'd say it's pretty basic.
There's a lot of things that you can say about James Madison. And he was, he had a hell of a lot of flaws. He had a lot more flaws than a lot of the founding fathers, and he was not a good president. But he was absolutely right with our Bill of Rights.
He copied it. He copied it from George Mason.
There were a lot of other founding fathers, like the George Masons and the Thomas Paines of the world, who didn't, even Ben Franklin, who did not get the proper credit for a lot of the things that they did.
A lot of them didn't want it, by the way.
That's true, too. They didn't want the credit because it wasn't about them. That's why George Washington is still one of our greatest presidents, because he set the standard in so many ways, and he never took advantage of this idea that he could be a king.
And what else?
Mr. President?
What about George Washington, that he wasn't with a party?
Well, no, he was a political independent.
He's the only one we've had.
That's true. And unfortunately, because of the likes of John Adams and Alexander Hamilton, and of course the likes of Thomas Jefferson on the other side, we got the first party system between the Federalists and the Democratic Republicans. But it was specifically stated, especially by Washington, that political parties is what's going to destroy this country.
We keep going back to
It didn't even last. It couldn't last one election after Washington.
I want to get rid of them. It's funny. I don't think we need 3, 4, 5 parties. I think we need no parties. How about that? How about we have no parties? Why do we need parties?
We would have a much better shot at having a plurality party system than we ever would getting rid of the parties.
I just don't see what they serve.
It keeps people, I don't want to say in line, but it just keeps them as like part of a team.
Join a sports club, intramural, find a book club, do some hobbies, okay? I don't understand why we have to have parties. I really don't. And I would love to have that discussion with someone who really understands it. That's not you.
I'll tell you the two parties that actually matter. It's, are you the party of labor or are you the party of shareholders? You have to figure that out because you really can't be both.
Well, right now we don't have a labor party. We have no labor party.
No, and listen, I believe in a party of management because there is such thing as labor, rank and file, and management, leadership. Shareholders, that's insane.
They don't get a seat at the table.
It's not necessary.
Go away. Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.